March 8, 2019, European Union. The European Parliament passed the controversial copyright directive, including Article 17, requiring platforms like YouTube to filter copyrighted content, sparking debates over free speech and creativity. 2017, multiple European countries, women across Europe organized protests and social media campaigns to highlight systemic sexual harassment, following high-profile scandals in industries like film and politics. March 8, 1960, Cuba. Fidel Castro's government seized U.S.-owned oil refineries, escalating tensions with the United States. 1979, thousands of Iranian women marched in Tehran to oppose Ayatollah Khomeini's decree enforcing mandatory Islamic dress, marking one of the first major post-revolutionary protests against theocracy. March 8, 2005, Afghan women celebrated International Women's Day publicly for the first time since the Taliban's fall, organizing rallies to demand education and political rights. 1985, Guatemala. The government passed a law granting amnesty to soldiers accused of human rights abuses during the Civil War, sparking outrage. March 8, 2011, Saudi activists staged a symbolic protest in Riyadh, demanding the right to drive. This preceded the broader Women to Drive campaign later that year. 1983, Chile. Massive demonstrations erupted in Santiago against Augusto Pinochet's military dictatorship, met with violent crackdowns. March 8, 2014, Venezuela. Student-led demonstrations against President Nicolás Maduro turned violent amid economic collapse and political repression. 1924, Nezihe Hidin established the first feminist organization in Turkey, advocating for women's suffrage and secular rights, aligning with Ataturk's modernization reforms. March 8, 1983, United States. President Ronald Reagan labeled the Soviet Union an evil empire, intensifying Cold War rhetoric. March 8, 2017, United States. A nationwide protest coinciding with International Women's Day, advocating for gender equality and labor rights. 1994, Prime Minister Benazir Bhutto pledged reforms to improve women's access to education and healthcare, though her policies faced backlash from conservative factions. March 8, 1965, United States. The first American combat troops arrived in Da Nang, escalating U.S. involvement in the Vietnam War. March 8, 2017, thousands protested in Istanbul and Ankara against President Erdogan's policies undermining women's rights, coinciding with International Women's Day. March 8, 2017, South Africa. Nationwide protests erupted against gender-based violence, with women and allies demanding government action to address femicide and systemic inequality. March 8, 2011, Egypt. Egyptian women organized rallies in Cairo to demand inclusion in political reforms and an end to sexual harassment, following the ouster of Hosni Mubarak. March 8, 2012, Malawi. Vice President Joyce Banda, later Africa's first female president, led International Women's Day events, calling for greater female representation in government. March 8, 1999, Nigeria. Activists convened to address gender disparities in education and employment, coinciding with global International Women's Day campaigns. March 8, 2020, Kenyan women marched in Nairobi to condemn rising cases of violence against women, demanding stricter enforcement of anti-GBV laws. March 8, 1960, Norway officially ratified the Antarctic Treaty, joining international efforts to preserve Antarctica for peaceful scientific research and banning military activity on the continent.